Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another GeekVerse episode. This week we got a weekly geek with me, Whaler1, Kirkland Patzer.
Hey, I'm Whaler too, Dylan Musk.
Yes, that is our official, unofficial name for this pairing on our weekly geek episodes. We got a bunch of fun news to unravel here with just Dylan and I. But before we get into that, just a couple of things to shout out. We are Mickey 17 reviews on the feed. So if you, one of the handful of people that have seen that movie, apparently it's a little bit.
It made like
underperforming
20
at the box
million.
office.
That's a lot of people.
That's in comparison to the budget, maybe not so much, but I am glad people are seeing it. But yeah, if you have seen it, or even if you haven't seen it and you just want to hear our thoughts, we have spoiler-free and spoiler reviews on there. So go check that on the feed. We have Daredevil Born Again that's coming out every week, and that review series is going well. You and I just did a fun side quest episode. That was awesome.
Really good.
Yeah, some juicy content in there. I gave a little bit of split fiction updates there, and I'm excited to jump back into that game this weekend. But my gosh, what else am I slipping through my memory?
I think that's everything in the last week. I guess I might be totally wrong here. Mission Impossible. I know it's been starting to be recorded, right? So maybe if you hit a Patreon.
Absolutely. Great segue there. Our first two episodes are on the Patreon right now, and I don't even think we're going to release those on the main feeds. I think we're keeping those under wraps, just like a true impossible mission, as Ethan Hunt would try and unravel. So if you aren't Ethan Hunt and you want to get into that impossible mission, go join the Patreon. That's the best place. Blah, blah, blah. That is the best place to support us. You get everything early, exclusive, ad-free. And big shout out to our highest tier, our Patreon producers. We got Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superbad Mike, Good God Loves Me 69, Jeremy Renner, and Charlie Randell. Thank you to each and every one of you, and even the non-Patreons, just for listening to us. So we
of course.
we appreciate everyone. So let's just get right into it, Dylan Musk.
Sure, why not?
This is a week of you and I. We it was just you and me on SideQuest, and just you and me here doing a Whalers episode. We got Weekly Geek. We got some fun topics to jump into, and the first one being around my boy Spidey. We got some Sadie Sink big time rumors. I say big time because through our undisclosed source, it's an A tier. I don't know where they get their letter rankings, but we're gonna go with it. It's an A tier rumor surrounding Sadie Sink, who, if I'm not mistaken, you have her in the comic book draft.
I absolutely do, and I had to go back through the archives a little bit on this because for anyone who doesn't know, every year we do many drafts. One of the drafts we do is the superhero draft, where we all pick 10 actors or actresses that we think are going to be cast in Marvel or DC things. I've had Sadie Sink on my list since 2022 is when I added her on my list in July 2022. And that's funny. I went all the way back because I was trying to remember when the heck I did pick her in the first place. And I didn't even have like a casting in mind when I picked her. I'm just like, I think I even said, I don't think she's actually going to get cast this year. I'm just grabbing this for a future year. And then I kept her 2023, 2024, and it's finally looking to be paying off here. So I definitely had to build that one up, but it feels good to get the point come out of it.
It's part of the strategy. Sometimes you gotta gear in for those late game picks. They don't.
The Stranger Things kids, you got to grab them while they're kids.
You assume at least most of them will have good careers for the rest of their lives. So and the superhero genre is just like an ever growing. I don't know. I was gonna say tumor. It's I was gonna say tumor. It sounded too negative. So
I don't like tumor.
Spiderweb is great, but I have the same strategy on some of my picks. They haven't always paid off, but I'm gambling on them. But Sadie Sink, I super just overall on my overall thoughts on just this news, her being attached to a potential Spidey project. I really loved her in Stranger Things, even from like her first season appearance. She's a pretty like quiet character in the early stages of that show. And I've only seen her in that and like a Taylor Swift music video. I think that's like like her IMDb record in my brain is those two projects. And I feel like I've just kind of been waiting for like a big and maybe I'm just like not paying attention enough to things that she has been in. I don't really. I should pull up her IMDb to see what her.
Yeah,
her
she was in the
latest works
Fear
have been.
Street stuff, and then
Oh,
also
that's right. Okay, I would have seen her in that then.
very relevant for this week since we're the Whalers, but she was in The Whale alongside Frasier,
Oh,
right?
right.
So that was like,
Yeah.
I think that was like her first time doing, I guess, something not in like the horror thriller sort of genre space, so something a little more, Academy focused and all that. So
Right.
she's definitely a versatile actress, just in the few things I've seen her in.
Yeah, no, I never ended up seeing The Whale, but I did see
Still haven't seen
her
it
in
either,
Fear
yeah.
Street, and she was really, really good in that. Oh my gosh, pardon me. But yeah, no, I think because I really enjoyed her in Stranger Things, and just the thought of like who she could be potentially playing in a Spider-Man or even just like other MCU type projects. I can kind of picture her being like anything really. Like, of course, like the easy picks are like the redheads, Mary
Yeah.
Jane. I saw Mayday Parker was another name that was thrown out there. The child of Peter and Mary Jane. That would be intriguing a little bit for me because I just don't really know much about that character. But I really think that she is just versatile enough to kind of play anything. Like even a Gwen Stacy blonde hair. Like I could definitely see her pulling it off well there. But in terms of like, of course, like those types of characters pair really well with a Peter Parker, who I guess I would be assuming would be a Tom Holland. I guess that's not necessarily the case, but like the most likely pair up would be there. And I don't know. It's hard for me to like get to a love interest type character for that. So maybe that's why I'm leaning to more. It's like a Mayday Parker. But even then, they could introduce they could be MJ or Gwen Stacy and not necessarily have to be a love interest. Like you could definitely write it differently in that sense. But I think I'm just excited overall on whoever she lands because she is very versatile. I think another one on there was also Jean Grey. Which
I think that's like the leading
Okay,
one.
there
And
you go.
that was a rumor from like a couple months ago, I think, as well.
Okay.
So this is, where there's smoke, there's fire. It seems like a little bit to that extent. So
Yeah.
I don't know. How would you feel about that? If like, let's say it was just her alone, like one X-Men character in Spider-Man 4, do you think that's kind of weird, or is that just maybe a good strategy for the MCU to like sprinkle these X-Men characters, which we've already got a little bit of, kind of sprinkle them through these different projects, and then, that makes the team up, I don't know, I guess a little bit easier because you already have these people.
Right.
You don't have to buy into the believability of them. You already kind of have them established.
No, that's a really good question because I feel like I've always like I don't know. I liked Jean Grey throughout her just stories and different iterations that we've seen her in. Like the two. Yeah, it was two different ones in the Fox X-Men series, and then of course like X-Men '97, and just seeing her in the animated series. And I feel like it would be pretty interesting on introducing just her in a potential like I don't know whether it is Spider-Man or just something else that it is just her, because I feel like many times in the X-Men you get introduced to like so many characters at once, and it is hard for you to like really fully focus. It's a little bit different in the X-Men animated series because you have a lot more time to really flesh them out. But I think specifically with oh my gosh, Sophie Turner, is that her name? The actress, the latest one of the X-Men in like the Days of Future Past era. I feel like it was just. Oh, I'm also forgetting J-Law. That's another.
Yes.
Oh wait, no.
Wait,
she's
not
Mystique.
J-Law.
My gosh, never mind.
Yeah.
Where am I going out?
What's her name? Femke Jensen, right? Is the lady?
Femke Jensen.
Yeah, I
Femke
played her back in the day.
Jensen, wow.
Yeah.
Good name memory there.
It's a weird name. It's easy to remember.
It is, but I feel like specifically with like the Sophie Turner one, because I felt like I had already kind of gone through the like the Phoenix saga with the other actress who I'm already slipping on the name, but I feel like it was just a redo of that original story. So maybe just like taking her out of that pond, putting in her with someone who already has like an established story, but just introducing that character on her own might be not necessarily more palatable, but just something different and a little bit tasty in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, so looking at the list again, like all of the kind of rumored characters that she could be playing. So Jean Grey kind of being like the top dog one, just because that also had that rumor from before. But other ones being Mary Jane, Black Cat, Firestar, and Mayday Parker. So yeah, Mayday is a character I've never seen before in all my Spider-Man extravaganza exploration. So I'd be down for that. That sounds really interesting. And specifically, the rumor here would be that would be like the daughter of Kristen Dunst and Tobey Maguire's characters.
Yeah.
So that would be really fun. There's a lot of potential
Absolutely.
there. That'd be a chance to get Dunst back as well, like because we already had Tobey back, but to get her back would be interesting. So that could be a really fun storyline. Yeah, it's kind of a freaky deaky one, but like I'm kind of down for that. And then I think for the other ones, I don't really see the Black Cat pick for her. I think we have heard maybe some rumors that could be a potential storyline for Spider-Man 4, but we've heard we've heard like every rumor in the world for this movie at this point, so who knows? I don't think that would be a great fit. Firestar seems like an interesting one. I looked into that character a little bit. I think Firestar was in the X-Men animated series. I could be wrong. Might be just there's so many random freaks in that show, right? Just flying around. But whether or not she's in there, looking it up, I guess she was introduced into Spider-Man comic in the first place, kind of has fire-based powers as one would expect there. So that could be interesting, just get a new, fresh character. I'd be into that as well. Or if it's just like, another Mary Jane, like a more standard one. I think that's maybe the least interesting of these options for me, just because we've kind of been there, done that. I think the Mayday is maybe Mayday or Jean are the most compelling ones for me. I'd be so curious to see what they do with Jean. It feels like it would be a more grounded version of the character than what we've seen before, and also potentially should be kind of like side character status. I don't know how big in the world she would be, but that would be a really bold choice to really kick off the X-Men in a major way with that, if that is kind of what we're getting there. But I could also see that being like a bit of a twist. Like it could be a situation in the trailers that we kind of all assume it's Mary Jane, but then it ends up being Jean, and we just don't actually see that name until the movie comes out or something like that. So I think there's some good options here, but either way, just having her in Spider-Man, I think is a great fit. I mean, I don't know. She's probably like early 20s. I feel like Tom Holland's like in his 30s now. I don't really know. It's hard to tell with some of these people, but it seems like they're around the same age. So I feel like if we play off a romantic thing or just like friends teaming up, I'm kind of down. And I don't know if maybe it works out that she's a character that ends up, whatever her character ends up being in the Champions, like the Young Avengers that we've heard about as well. Seems like she could be ripe for that roster. And that seems like a lot of women for that roster right now. So maybe she would fit right in there with like Miss Marvel and Kate Bishop and stuff. So that could also be a fun dynamic. So whatever it is, I feel like that's she's a really great actress. And with all these different characters that she could be playing, a really good piece to add into this movie. And you could easily see it like spiral out into these other things, even if she doesn't just like stick in the spider realm, but branches out to these other projects. So a lot of potential there. And obviously, I'm extra hyped because I get a point out of it as well.
Yeah.
Puts me ahead in the draft for this year.
Hell
so,
yeah.
Feeling good about that.
Congratulations, sir. Yes, it is still rumor, so you can't collect your trophy yet, but
okay.
It's pretty hot. It's pretty hot, and like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire.
I feel like I might have the most success. Like, I don't know if I've won every year because there's like the 2-pointers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I had John Krasinski, I had Amelia Clark, I had Sean Gunn, which is a cheap one, but I'll take it. I feel like I had one more, but I can't recall off the top of my head. But yeah, I've had some good picks over the years.
Yeah, I mean, you got better percentage than me, and I'm kind of surprised I even have as many points as I do throughout the lifelong that we've been doing this draft.
Well, you got a lot of the Euphoria. I'm not going to call them kids because everyone in that show is like 35 years old, but you got a lot of those young up and comers. So I'm sure
that
strategy
though.
I'm sure that'll blossom
right?
soon enough. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Anything else on Sadie Sink specifically?
No, I'm just excited. Do you think like Comic-Con this year she'd be up on that stage? We get some
I think so.
Stuff going on there.
Yeah, I think it's just especially that we already got our nose on this scent, at this stage. Let it keep brewing. Let that pie sit on the windowsill a little bit more until Comic-Con.
Okay.
And then we'll be taking a piece out of it. Cool. A couple other, rumored potential just comic book casting potential. Weird way to phrase that, but
I'm with you.
If I'm not mistaken, the Oscar winner of this year, Mikey Madison?
She did win an Oscar, and that
yes.
is her name.
Okay, good. I was correct. I don't watch the Oscars, but I was pretty certain that she was a winner of it. She's one of the names on a potential Marvel wanted list. Roles unknown.
Of course.
Yeah. How can you not when she just won an Oscar?
Name one director or studio that doesn't want to work with Mikey Madison right now. She's on top of the world.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
Yeah,
even GV Productions wants her.
Absolutely.
We can't afford her, unfortunately.
No,
roles
not.
unknown. I think you really liked Nora. I can't remember because we
Yeah.
never did a review for it.
I did. It didn't make it very far in many Golden Geeks categories. It swept the Oscars instead. So, maybe she's happier with that than winning Golden Geek categories. But
I don't know. I'll have to ask her for sure. But yeah, no, I absolutely loved Anora. I think it's easily one of my favorite movies of last year. And yeah, I'm not really surprised by seeing this. It's the same thing when I watch something like Euphoria or like just a new show that's out, and it's just amazing because people just give so much shout out to specific actors or actresses or whoever's in it, and did not disappoint for me with the Mikey Madison pick.
Of course.
And
who do you got for her? Where would you slap her down? Which character?
Ooh,
or which
I mean
realm?
That would be a Black Cat for me. I feel like she.
Yeah,
she
that
is
was
the Black
that was
Cat
a top
in
pick for me as well.
that one comes pretty natural. I mean, I've only seen her as the character of Anora, so like I don't know how versatile it is, but she is so good.
You've seen Once Upon a Time in
role.
Hollywood. So
She's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
yeah, remember she gets the can chucked at her head at the end of the movie? She's
Oh
one
my
of the
gosh, that's
cultists.
her?
Yeah.
I actually did not know that. That's crazy. Okay, so I have seen her in more things than just Anora. I feel like
Huge
just
role
off of that,
in that
it would have
movie.
to be like a very fiery type character. Of course, now that I have
Oh yeah.
that crazy hippie in my mind now. Oh, maybe circle back to me. Maybe,
Okay.
maybe let me stew on that one a little bit. But and then the other name in here was David Johnson. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Just by
Yeah, you do. Andy from Alien Romulus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, come on. David Johnson. See, these are two where like I'm not surprised when I like see the faces. Like, yeah, people want these actors and actresses. Like, yeah, no, that makes sense. It's exactly what you already talked about. Again, another character that can kind of be many things. He could be any type of android. we know he can check that box. Yeah, I don't know. Help me out here.
Could be Ultron's son.
Ultron's son, damn.
Yeah, if you want another robot. My other one for Mikey was Jessica Jones. I think could be interesting pick for her. Just I do want Ritter back, and it seems like a lot of these Netflix people are coming back. So if I had my preference, just give me Ritter back. Let's go. Continue that character and storyline. But I do think that could be an interesting role for her, and whether that is her just popping up in Daredevil and other things, or if there is another season of Jessica Jones that eventually happens. But yeah, I think that could be a fun kind of role for her. As for David Johnson, maybe it's like a bit of a generic pick here, but I was thinking, in the last Black Panther movie, we got young. Oh my God, is it T'Challa? Is it his name's also T'Challa, right? The new kid.
T'Challa, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, realistically what we're going to do is like age that kid up for the next Black Panther thing to be the next T'Challa. I feel like David Johnson could be a pretty good pick for that. If like let's throw that in like the Young Avengers realm if we kind of go that direction.
Yep.
Because I don't know how old that kid was, maybe like 12 or something like that. But if you add a few years on him, David Johnson could like fit that kind of role. Now, I don't know if really what I saw in Alien, that's the only thing I've seen him in, like really evokes that type of character. But that was the first one that came to mind to me, just for like the age group. I feel like he would be kind of set up for a Young Avengers kind of thing. And that would be really cool. So yeah, I think that'd be interesting. I feel like he's still a little bit under the radar. But obviously that was a great performance for him last year in Alien. So hopefully he joins the world of Marvel. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, no, sorry, I had my mind on who I would cast, but yeah, no, that's I think pretty much anything he would excel at. Okay, I got another one for Mikey here.
Okay,
Kitty Pryde, I think would be really interesting because I feel like
Okay.
next time we're gonna see Kitty Pryde too. She's gonna be a lot bigger of a character than we seen her in the past with the Fox universe. But yeah, I'm hoping for a more kind of like how we had Rogue in the Fox universe, like a character more centered around.
give me
Kitty
a
Pryde.
Rogue. Give me a Mikey Madison Rogue. That's
Actually,
what I
yeah,
want.
that is pretty good as well. But again, pretty much anyone she'll be phenomenal at. But
Yeah. I don't think she'll do it
no,
right now
yeah.
in her career.
She's gonna
That would be
enjoy
my
that
thought.
Oscar. She's gonna be. She doesn't need the GV Golden Geek award yet. She's gonna just hold on to that Oscar on her shelf.
Yeah, I feel like maybe she'll pull like a Emma Stone and like win an Oscar and then just go do a bunch of freakish Yorgos movies and things like that. I feel like that's what I would do if I were her. I mean, I'd also be in Marvel if I were her. That'd be cool. But I don't know. I
Depends what
feel
the
like
check
she
looks
would
like, right?
she would probably wait for the right role, and I just don't know what kind of like woman-led like Marvel movie, like maybe a TV show, but like movie happening in the near future. I don't know if she just wants to just be a character in an ensemble. I feel like she's so hot right now, so she can take whatever the heck she wants. And I don't know. I just don't know if there's the right role or movie that exists for her right now. Would be maybe my thought. But maybe we're selling how big of a deal she is. We'll have to wait and see because we still haven't really seen the fallout of her winning this Oscar and being a big deal. Remains to be seen.
That's absolutely true. I feel like, you bring up a great point. I feel like the likely scenario would be her being maybe like a one-off villain or something. Like the main type
a villain could be fun.
Like another one that I did see when I was quickly Googling was like a Madam Hydra. I don't even know who that character is, but I'm like, that sounds awesome. I think Hydra's kind of, in the past from where we are in the MCU, but I don't know. Zola randomly popped up at some point.
It's too close to Madam Web for me, so I'm not liking that for
do a name change.
Mikey.
Yeah. That's fair. Mademoiselle Hydra, they add a little bit flair to it. But I don't know. I think because you brought up, the point of just she is so hot right now and she doesn't really necessarily would want to like pair up with like a big ensemble thing. She is just like the star of the show. But who knows? Maybe she really wants to get in the comic book game. We'll have to wait and see. Cool.
Do you have any others for David Johnson? Did you have any castings for off the top of your head for him?
I just don't know, like, what, like, I would want it to be a bigger character, and I feel like I'm just having a harder time picturing who's going to be popping up in, like, one of those type of roles. Like, my mind, I still just don't believe Blade is going to come out at all, but I feel like, I don't know, some sort of appearance in a Blade-like show where it's just, like, a more mature setting. Maybe my mind's just too attached to the Alien Romulus setting for that character. But yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time picking up who could be appearing. With his face. But
is there an X-Men character that makes sense for him?
I just don't know where we're gonna be jumping in with the X-Men on like who they're gonna be choosing as like their first appearances. I mean, we already kind of talked about the Jean Grey rumors, but we do have a Beast rumor, and it's not David Johnson.
We can get to that if you want.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I'm lacking on my.
No,
X-Men
I'm blanking
pulse.
too on too many deep cuts for him right now.
Too many deep cuts. Speaking of deep cuts, we got Jesse Plemons, coming off hot of Civil War. A very interesting.
Kinds of Kindness, I would say. Hot off Kinds of Kindness.
I never saw it. That's why I wasn't in
He's
front of my
wild in that movie. You got to watch it at some point.
He's okay. Yeah, I will. Is that the one with Willem Dafoe as well? And
yeah, it's the Yorgos movie from last year.
Oh, Yorgos. Okay. Yeah.
Emma Stone's
like
in there too.
Three different timelines or storylines or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
That is the one I was thinking of.
But he's kind of like the lead, the star of the all of them pretty much. So
Plemons is?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I really like him in the roles that I've seen him in, but I feel like the roles that I've seen him in are like very character actor type roles. So I in my mind I just assume him being this like really disturbing fucked up guy because I've seen him in like Breaking Bad and Civil War. But who's not a fucked up and crazy guy is Mr. Beast himself.
Yeah, Beast is pretty
Hank
normal.
McCoy. Very normal. I would say he's like very philosophical with the way that he speaks. He's very high intellect. So just because of my past with Jesse Plemons, I don't necessarily think of him right away. But I'm down for it. I think it would be really, really interesting just side of Jesse Plemons. I feel like when I look at him, again, it's just hard for me to not see like the crazy psychos that he's played in the past. But he's kind of got a nice like gentle teddy bearism to him, and I think blue. Give him a furry little hairdo and some sideburns.
You think they'll do that instead of CGI? You think they'll paint him blue?
Maybe like the eyes around, like he's wearing a full mocap, but they just make Batman circles. No, I think CGI is more likely, but he might just dress up blue for the audition.
Right. He gets into the role. He's a method actor. He's probably not. That's the thing is like, not that he's a beautiful man that I need to see visually on my screen, but I don't want him in a CGI role. I want Plemons. I want the acting, and I don't really want like weird iffy CGI. And I also don't think Beast is going to be like the main guy. I think he'd be in the side, which I feel like is kind of where Jesse Plemons normally is. So I do think on paper a lot of it makes sense. I just want like a spicier pick, but I also was looking through so many characters today and I couldn't come up with one off the top of my head, so maybe it does just make sense, but I don't know, I want him to be weirder, I guess. And maybe that's me typecasting him because I just love him when he's weird. But I do think he could pull off Hank McCoy. I feel like he could pull off most characters because he's such a great actor. But yeah, I think I want something a little freakier, a little more beastly than just Beast. You know?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
What if because you still want to see him? What if it's like how they have Mark Ruffalo, where like you very much see Mark Ruffalo's face in the CGI, but it is still a CGI character?
And I guess Beast, some iterations kind of can go back and forth to some
True.
extent, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
I just feel like by the time we get Beast in MCU proper, other than like the grammar post-credit scene, like I don't think we're going full origin story. I don't think we're gonna have a sequence of like Plemons covered in paint. You know, I think he's always gonna be covered in that paint.
Yeah, no, I think I would agree. Just because we kind of already went through a somewhat origin with like the Days of Future Past. What is that actor's name? He was just in Nosferatu. I'm blanking.
Holt.
Holt. Yes, thank you, Nicholas Holt. So yeah, I would also just like him as being like the pillar. And another want for me with this Plemons thing is just like doubling back on how I just see him as that one type of character. I want to have a role where I'm like, okay, yeah, no, he is a gentleman and a nice guy. I'm sure he is in real life. Married to the great Kristen. Oh my gosh.
Stewart?
Dunst.
Were
there
you
we
about
go.
to say? Okay.
I have too many Kristens in my mind.
He's married to Kristen Dunst.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna have to double check that right now because I don't want to.
So the Civil War duo that probably came up on the Civil War review, and my memory once again.
Married 2022. They're still going.
Futile.
Good for them. Good for those kids.
Were you at the wedding and everything, or?
I couldn't make it. They sent the RSVP though.
You were busy filming Adrenochrome.
Yeah, they didn't let me bring a +1, and I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not going then. But thanks for the thought, guys. Anything else on the Plems?
No, I don't know if we have a tier for that one. But do you think that's the realm they're going? Like the older, wiser Beast version? I could see it. I could see this one.
What would be your percentage?
I'll go 36.
Okay, still pretty low.
It's pretally high though for just like a random ass rumor.
Yeah. No, that's fair. You saying
it's like a 1 in 3 chance that it happens. That's pretty good.
That's actually pretty darn good. I'm gonna go 52. I'm over the hump on this one.
Over that hump,
yeah.
Okay.
You know, flip heads and tails. I would get that tails a little bit more than the heads.
Slightly more, yeah.
Slightly more. Okay, our very last MCU rumor. We just lost our letter grades on these, but so we don't know the the letter grade. But I already brought it up today. The Blade, the
Blade,
the Moby Dick of the MCU projects. I believe it's a fallacy. We're never gonna see this project. Some people are still talking about it. Apparently, David Leitch as a parent.
The Leitchman.
The Leitchman. Is that what we call him now? I like it though. The Leitchman for the Blade director. Apparently, the project is now internally listed as a post-Secret Wars project. No shit. I feel like this movie should have came out a long time ago. We're gonna be getting Secret Wars in no time here. By the time Blade gets any more information out. But what about you? Are you like me? Are you just a downer and a pessimist, and you just don't think this is ever gonna be a thing? Even though I loved the initial casting, it was so hype around that time.
Yeah.
Watching Eternals. That
6 years ago.
Yeah. The voice is still in the ether. But what about you? Are you? Yeah, where are you?
I've been on the optimistic side, but when I hear news like this, I'm like, oh yeah, we're just kicking that down the road again, like past Avengers. It's like, oh god, that's not very good. So I don't know. I mean, I think with what we've got set up for Avengers now, like, you don't really need Blade in there. Like, we have enough chess pieces to play with here.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need Blade, so it's fine. Kick him to the next era. Maybe the next era has like a Midnight Suns sort of situation, Marvel Knights kind of thing, and maybe Blade makes a lot of sense to kick that little mini arc off. So I think it makes sense. But yeah, I just as the years go on, I get more and more worried that Mahershala Ali will just dip and do other stuff, and that would be a real missed opportunity because he would be really great there. So I hope that it happens. In terms of David Leitch, though, just for anyone who forgets, director of Deadpool 2, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, Bullet Train, and Fall Guy. So I love Fall Guy. I love Deadpool. I haven't seen Fast and Furious. Bullet Train was pretty good too. So he's like a good director. He makes a very specific type of movie though, and that's not the kind of vibe I want for Blade. I don't want jokey, comedic. I want like dark and serious, a little horror vibes, some scary stuff. So not to say that he can't do it. I'm sure he's capable. But this is not my preferred pick. I think there's a ton of other great Marvel projects that he would be great for. Obviously he's done Deadpool before, but I don't really want him in there for Blade. So I'm hoping that this is not true.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I think just the overall tone of pretty much all those movies, like Deadpool 2 dabbles into some serious stuff, but like still for the most part it is a comedy at its bones. And then of course Bullet Train and Fall Guy are both like fully centered around that comedic side, and it's really not what I would have expected. And maybe this is going to be a super serious flick if he is the one that's actually attached to it, and this does actually come out. But I just feel like us getting this news now and set up after a post-Secret Wars, it makes me think that they probably shifting their initial idea of what they were going to do for that Blade project. And I didn't even get, or I don't know if many did, like the initial pitch for what they were going to do with that Blade, because that was so long ago. But it's just not really where I would have pinned it. So good point showing that out.
He's also a producer on all of the John Wick stuff. How do you feel about like a John Wick vibe for Blade? Do you think that's a good pairing? Because that actually makes a little more sense to me. That's like, okay, now we're in the same cauldron.
No, 100%. I think that something that comes to mind initially when I think of Blade is just like the high energy action. I still think Blade has like one of the best openings of any action movie ever. Are you familiar with like the nightclub scene when they're like spraying blood out of the sprinklers, and then he's just chopping up everyone in the night? Yeah, just phenomenal. So I think that is very much more on the tone of what I would have expected for a Blade. But I also like what you said though of like maybe a more horror aspect to it, because it's creatures of the night that he's facing down, and just the David Leitch tone of it, I think makes me think that we're going in an opposite direction of that. But who knows?
And I'll wait to see. Obviously, he's like got a big love for the stuntmen of the world, but that's what Fall Guy's all about. Kind of a love letter to them. I think that like to have some really just badass, really well choreographed stunts and cool things for Blade, like that seems like a pretty good pairing. If we could get like a really acrobatic, not Mahershala Ali doing all these jumps off stuff, but get someone who looks like him to do some cool stuff. I think that could be a really fun pairing as well. Could really fit with like the vampiric kind of, I don't know, movements that you would normally get and stuff. So I do think there is a couple points of potential that makes sense for this. It would really just be a tone thing. But I think if you get the right writer, then maybe he could be the good pairing, right? As long as the writer is making the tone a specific way. Maybe he could help bring that to life with his skill set. So, and directors can do a lot of different things in their career. I just haven't necessarily seen that from him in the works I've seen him do. So, interesting choice for sure.
Well said.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you have nothing else to add, I have nothing else to add. So we will skip on over to our first ad break, and we'll be back to unravel some DC stuff. So here we go. All right, and we are back. I said some DC stuff. It's more focused around, I guess, the heads of DC. There's
the heads of the snake.
The heads of the snake. The heads of the Hydra. One gentleman, James Gunn, never forget his name. Another man I usually always forget, Peter Safran, which is I've now learned his name, and I might not have to too much because he might be shifting out of that role into the lead role of the like how I
you have to know his name even more.
100% actually. He's going to be covering more films than I would have already been talking about, but potentially the new DC head. After, I don't know, there's some, I don't want to say inner turmoil, but maybe some inner uneasiness on I don't even want to say like the trajectory of Warner Brothers, but just maybe like the high tide of movies successful at the box office. That was a horrible way to say that. I apologize. But I from what I understand, there's some inner mumblings that the Superman project that's coming out this summer is kind of a make or break. I feel like that's kind of a hyperbole just because it's such a massive studio. I don't think it'll break down the whole company, but I mean, if there's already talks of just shifting around some leadership, maybe that is
WB's on the ropes though, man. Like they are already on the ropes. So
they're taking a couple punches.
The pressure's on, and obviously part of this is like Mickey 17 was, I guess, one of their things, and that's not doing great and all this. So like, not looking good.
I mean, yeah, I truly loved that movie. I know you absolutely did. And
So good.
I didn't really, because I just don't keep my finger on the pulse on the box office stuff initially. I was pretty surprised, I think, just by the ratio of, to my understanding, budget of about 120 million, and then domestically made about 19 million, like just under 20 mil. That's crazy to me, just because of, I mean, I guess maybe I just think Robert Pattinson is a lot bigger than he is, or maybe just people had no idea what the fuck this movie was going to be going into it. Or maybe people just, I don't know, aren't in the vibe for this type of movie. For whatever reason, did not do too well at the box office. And what was the other one?
I mean, I've been telling everyone in my life, go see this freaking movie. So
and they should.
I'm doing my part.
You listening to this right now, you should go check out Mickey 17. It is a fantastic film. But yeah, so Mickey 17. Joker 2. That was the other one. That major.
That was not good.
Major box office bomb. And of course, it's like two projects in pretty close window of release. And then I would definitely be worried, I think, if my position was in those roles, like leading up into Superman. And but yeah, like I don't know. What do you think about this news?
Yeah, it seems strange. So the idea that Safran is going to get promoted up to like a higher responsibility role after, it's always hard with these people. When we were talking about Big Dan Lin for all those months there, it's like
Big Dan.
It's those kind of roles are really hard for us as like just citizens of the earth to like understand kind of what makes those roles successful and really the work that they're doing. So it's always hard to say. But like from what I understand, like I just feel like the DC stuff is just kind of getting kicked off. We really don't know how successful this plan is going to be from Safran and Gunn. It seems like on paper, it seems like there's a lot of great ideas there, but we just have to remain to be seen if it's profitable. So I don't know. It seems like a strange idea to promote this guy at this point in time. Maybe he's proven himself with his work prior. Obviously, if he got that role in the first place with DC, he's clearly done something right. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a bold jump at this point. But from what my outlook, I feel like James Gunn's fine on his own to do this DC thing. It seems like he's, especially now that's kicked off, and now that I don't know how much directing he's going to do from this point forward, right? So like Superman, done directing that, is coming out this year. That was his thing, but now he can just really focus on like being that producer role and getting these things moved along. So I don't know, maybe he doesn't need that second chair. Maybe he doesn't need his Whaler 2 to his Whaler 1. He's like good to go there. But yeah, the promotion does seem like an odd thing, but obviously, yeah, they are on the ropes. And so maybe it's just like, okay, the current people are really not cutting it. So even though this is maybe a bit of a risk, it's like you can't do worse than like these fools that you got in this position right now, because they're just kind of dropping the ball in terms of some of these bigger decisions. So yeah, it's just one of these things that's really hard for me to fully contextualize it. But the move doesn't really make a lot of sense, but also what they're currently doing doesn't make sense. So, try again, try something different.
No, 100%. And I mean, many times in the past, I've completely forgotten his name just because James Gunn isn't, or is a little bit more in the light than Peter Safran is. And I feel like part of that is also I just don't really fully understand what Peter Safran does in his role. And even James Gunn to an extent, like I
sits on a pile of cash,
smokes
cigars. I don't know what these guys do, man.
100%. So I guess good for him. He's going to be getting a pretty good pay raise, I would imagine, being the new head of WB. But yeah,
just what WB needs to spend more money on things that don't need it.
Absolutely. I think a part of that too is, I mean, Mickey 17, $120 million budget. It's a beautiful looking film, but like
gorgeous.
You don't have to have $100 million to make it a phenomenal film. Clearly, we've seen some lower budget films that do super, super well, and it's a challenge when your base is so high, right? Like they basically have to make, to my understanding, double that to make a profit, because you have to think about all like the marketing and everything else that goes with the cost of the budget. But that's a tough bar. I guess the idea is you spend more and then you get bigger profits, but I don't know. It just, they're so fixated.
It's not
on
an easy role.
Massive...
It's really hard to make these decisions.
Yes, I'm not qualified for this, so take everything I say with a grain of salt.
No one is. I think that's the problem.
Absolutely. We got detail in the chat. What was one of the comments here? What do you think Superman needs to make for them to continue? I feel like I'm still in the realm that it is going to be a $1 billion film.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, it just something about these big first, I guess, origin movie for like a new main face of a franchise. Aquaman did it. Wonder Woman did it. Like those early. I guess not necessarily early, just like the first big movie for these big characters, I think just kind of have a trend to go that way. And I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of word of mouth. It is a little bit ways away. It is this year, but maybe like after just some bigger promotion stuff comes out with the film, I think more people will be talking about it. It's Superman, you know? He's like one of the OG Superman.
He is the. Yeah. Yeah. Do we know the budget of this movie? Can you? I don't have my keyboard plugged in, so I can't Google that.
You want to talk to text right now?
I'm out of ports in my laptop, so it's kind of. I could kind of maybe type.
I'm seeing $363.8
dollars.
God damn, that is way higher than I was expecting
Holy
it to be.
F.
That is insane. Man of Steel
I feel like I
between
have not
225. So that's insane.
And this movie's coming out soon. I feel like I have not seen much marketing for it yet, so I don't know. Maybe they're skimping on the marketing budget because they spent so much on production itself. Or maybe that number includes marketing. I'm not sure, but that is a freaking huge number. So I feel like this movie's got to make big money to be a success. Which is once again like a big part of this. Reading through this article, figuring out what's wrong with WB is like they're just giving too much money to some of these movies. And as you mentioned with Mickey 17, maybe that was the case there. But other ones as well. And like for Superman, for any movie ever, that's a humongous budget. So we'll see what happens there. But I feel like it's got to at least make like 600 million for it to be like, for things to be okay.
Yeah.
But, probably more aiming for 800 million, or like obviously they want the billion. Every movie wants a billion.
Yeah.
But I think a realistic number would be like between 600 and 800 million for it to be like, okay, that was a decent success, put some money in our pockets, hopefully like keep this DC thing going for a bit longer. But oh boy, that's a rough budget if that's a true number.
That is crazy. I think I was expecting something like around 200, maybe north of that, maybe under 250. But yeah, I mean, clearly people should be worried that at Warner Brothers DC.
It's a lot of eggs in the super basket.
That is a
there.
lot of eggs. That's 363.8 million eggs.
And there's a bird flu thing going on right now, so eggs are not easy to come by.
To specifically address Detail's question, I feel like 800 would kind of be the goal in my mind with a budget like that to reach. But
which is not easy to do in this day and age. You can't just casually hit that.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then Detail also said Mickey 17 was great in theater. I agree. Everybody should go see it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Was there something else in this Peter Safran shebang that I was missing?
I guess just like if WB does sell off DC, or just like, I don't know, if WB just goes under completely and has to sell off everything. I don't really have an idea of like who a good buyer would be for that kind of stuff. My thought would maybe be like an Amazon or something, but I just feel like I don't even know. Isn't there like laws against monopolies and shit? Like I feel like that's WB is so huge that it's hard for me to imagine that going to one of these big guys already. But I mean, I don't know. People break the rules all the time, so maybe that would just go to freaking Disney or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel like the rules just change. They don't work, so then they just make the change of the rules.
Maybe Netflix would scoop that up.
Ooh, interesting. I'm so out of my element when it comes to like the big company monopoly type size. Or sorry, the types of people that are just truly running the world. And I feel like I found it crazy when Disney bought Lucasfilm, like even back then,
right.
and then they bought Marvel, and then they bought Fox, and that one was just like insane to me when we were like actually hearing about some of the numbers that were being thrown around. Like you could say $1 billion, you could say $100 billion. I feel like my mind just can't actually picture what that amount really means.
You can't.
And Amazon, they could probably afford it just with how large it is. But I don't know. It's always a weird thing because then you get into like, I don't know, the monopoly rules of it. But unfortunately,
I hope for the DC fans that WB can at least hold on a little bit longer, have some success here, and like you can at least get a glimpse of this Saffron and Gun vision, and just get like at least, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 or 7 of these projects out, and just see what that vision is, and then obviously if it's profitable, keep it going. But yeah, I hope for the DC fans that they can at least get to see this a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I really want that Superman project to just pop off, and I want to be hyped on Superman again, because I really love the Henry Cavill pairing for Superman, even though I didn't really love those movies. You know, the Zack Snyder Justice League maybe being my favorite out of all of those. But yeah, no, I really want to be loving this film, because I have a lot of nostalgia with Superman. You know, we went through that retro. Go check that out. It's on the feeds. And it just, Christopher Reeve, like that was one of my early just attachments to the superhero genre. And of course, like we didn't have the cinematic universes that we do now. Like now we're spoiled rotten with the amount of projects that we have. But yeah, no, I have a deep place in my heart for Superman. So I really hope it succeeds.
When's that old movie coming out?
I'll get an exact date. I know it's in the summer.
A little July moment, perhaps.
July 11th. There we go. I almost said June.
Same day as Tony Hawk's 3+4 Pro Skater.
What are you gonna choose, Dylan? Superman or Tony Hawk 3+4?
I'll stay home and play Tony Hawk. I think.
You're not gonna help get this over 800 million.
I supported Mickey 17. I'll go see that again.
That's respectful. Right. Okay. Any final things on these DC talks, or
I think
shall we
not.
cast it into the fire? Yeah, let's cast it into the fire
cast.
then. Yeah, let's jump into some trailers here. So, any specific one you want to start with?
Let's see. Let's go Last of Us Season 2, which is coming up pretty soon. It's coming out in April. Yeah, I mean, this is funny because like the first, even though I haven't played through the full first game, I kind of knew everything that happens for the most part in it, and so those trailers were always like, oh, okay, this is that part, but I know some broad strokes of what goes on in the second game, but I have not played that. And so watching this trailer, I was like completely lost. I don't know what the heck is going on. There's like cults everywhere. There's of course more zombies popping off. There's these characters are mad at each other. There's other new characters. I don't know half of them. So yeah, I'm excited for the show. I'm excited to go into like uncharted territory. I'm really curious to see what they do in terms of the overall story, and that second game being a lot longer, and how much of it they choose to tackle, or how much things they shift, considering that the first season did that as well. But yeah, this show's kind of popping up pretty quickly. Do you think you're going to do like a rewatch or anything, or do you feel pretty ready to go for the second season? It feels like it was like what, last year, or no, I guess it was 2023, but it's pretty recent, right?
I feel like it's further in my mind. I don't know. I'll have to pull it up.
Okay.
But to answer your question, if I'm ready, I'm absolutely not ready, because watching this, I'm like, man, I do not remember actually I feel like I remember the main hitting points of that first season. So just with time and time constraints, I'll probably just watch like a YouTube like recap of season 1 leading up to it, because it is coming quick, and I can't believe we're already like pretty much halfway through March of 2025.
I know.
Time is just an ever fleeting thing. But yeah, I am very hyped though. This trailer really did a good job at just hyping me up. Did show a lot, but like you, I never ended up finishing that first game. I thought about it while watching the first season, and it'll probably happen again where I'm watching this. I'm like, oh, I just want to jump into this universe, like play the game and just really enjoy the characters from. Yeah, it's kind of the same direction, but a different coat of paint on it. I don't know. I really don't know how different the story is for the most part, just because I haven't played through that whole game. And then I imagine this is tackling the second game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but we don't know how much of the second game.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know really any of these new characters that were shown here, but yeah, I think they did a good job at just showcasing some light-hearted moments of the show, with just Joel like talking to that young kid and just kind of telling the story there. Some wholesome moments, but then some like just chaos with people holding these. I don't even know what they're called, but it's like a sickle type thing, and then like, man,
right.
This show's gonna be pretty vicious here. Then we get like a basically Battle of the Bastards type sequence with all the zombies like just running towards the base there, and yeah, no, I'm pretty hyped, especially just, HBO, the quality of shows that they put out there, they always look really, really good with these large scale events, and just the quality of the actors and everything. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back into this dour and depressing universe. Plus we got what's it called? 28 years later. Like it kind of reminds me of that same sort of vein of just like kind of post-apocalyptic people living out their lives and the world's gone to shit. So yeah, I'm down for a depressing season of films and projects.
Just a depressing year of films. And movies.
Hopefully not a depressing year. Real life is already depressing at times on its own.
It's true.
But, that's why we talk about these things.
What was the least depressing trailer of the bunch for you here?
Oh, that's a good question. It would probably have to be Lilo and Stitch for me. This is a project that I think initially found out it was coming out, and I'm like, I don't want it. I love that original one so much. I feel like no matter what, it'll just not get to that level of what it is. And I just thought in my mind, like, it could only be disappointing, and I was really sour on it, and unfairly. Maybe not unfairly, because I haven't always loved like the live action remakes that Disney has done. But when I saw this first teaser, I think might have been for a review, but I'm pretty sure like the first time I saw it in theaters, actually seeing Stitch and just getting like that music and everything, it was just it was awakening something in me. And because I like, this is a movie that I just spammed as a kid. I absolutely love Lilo and Stitch. I remember watching the TV show, and yeah, I just love this what this world is, and goddamn, this trailer is phenomenal in my mind. I think it's pretty much on par with the How to Train Your Dragon live action trailer of it. Just like they did it. Like they're basically making the same movie again, but just like with a different coat of paint. And I love Lilo and Stitch, but I found like the character of Lilo has always been annoying for me. Just watching it, and maybe it's just her voice in like the animated. I was just like, the more I watch it, Lilo just annoys me. And then I hear this young actress like doing the voice. I'm like, oh, it's like actually exactly what the animated voice is, and that's just how a young girl talks. So it fits really well. So really impressed by, I think, just by the initial appearance.
So you're annoyed by the performance, then, is what you're saying?
In the no, sorry, let me rephrase that. I was annoyed in the animated version, because she is just really whiny, and she is just a little girl, that's how they act sometimes. No diss towards any young ladies out there, but yeah, I think it's just a really good casting, more or less. And this looks really impressive, and CGI looks really good. The only character that I'm a little bit iffy on by this initial trailer is the like agent. Just because in the animated, like, he's just so like massive, and I think in my mind that's just, of course, who I'm going to be picturing that character is, and it's just not really realistic because it's not the proportion of a normal man.
Yeah, man, this is a thing that I've not like. I watched that movie a few times as a kid. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I watched the show maybe a little bit here or there. Is this always been the origin story? Because like I completely forgot about this detail that Stitch is like an alien sent down to being chased. Yeah, I feel like I've never thought about it, and I just kind of forgot about those details, but that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the opening of the trailer is like basically shot for shot, like an opening of the movie, with like the spaceship design, even just like him taking like the red one, like the quotes are the same, and yeah, I'm really hyped on this one.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, I think Stitch, the CGI looks really good, which is really important, of course, and it's always, I think, especially for some actors, it can be hard to act alongside a CGI creature when that's like the project is mostly CGI creature and a human. And I think especially for a kid, that's probably an extra difficult thing to do. But I think she's doing a pretty good job in there. I just feel like, I guess this one for me, like the audience for this does seem like it's for kids. The humor wasn't really working for me. Just like the general type of dialogue, it seemed kind of by the books, pretty safe, pretty basic sort of stuff. And I really just feel like I'm not the audience for this, even though I really like that one back in the day. So I'm not really too excited for this. I think it looks like really great for that audience, like the younger kids who like love Sonic. I feel like they're gonna love this. But that's just not really my bag right now. And I'm not like so nostalgic for this that I need to see it, even though I did like it as a kid. So I think this one's gonna stay on the shelf for me, unfortunately. But I feel like it has potential to do pretty good and have a good audience for it. So I'm hoping for it because I think this is kind of one of those kind of underrated IPs that actually kind of deserves something like this. Whereas so many others, like we just get spammed these live action remakes that I don't feel like we really need, or it feels like a waste of time. But this one does feel like it's kind of justified. So it's cool.
Well said.
Yeah.
Nice. Another trailer on here. It's more of a teaser, but Life of Chuck. I thought this was gonna be like a Chucky type show for some reason. I'm like, man, they're just totally changing his name. Maybe he's an adult now. Chucky's growing up into Chuck. I really don't know anything. What I got from this what I got out of this trailer is I'm enticed, but I have no idea what's going on. And but yeah, I think it's a pretty tantalizing teaser in the sense of it makes me want more. But I don't know anything. Like it didn't reveal anything. I'm sure we'll get another full trailer. But I like the cast list. It looks pretty powerful. And yeah, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I feel like it needed a bit more of a hook to it. Like the hook just being like the director or the people working on it and like the actors.
Yeah.
And it's like, it does seem like a great cast and crew in that way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like I even when I read the description of it, it's like, okay, exploring like the life of an ordinary man at like 3 different points or something. It's like, okay. I haven't felt that hook yet. You know, like that Last of Us sickle. I need that thing like stabbed into me with
right in the gills.
Yeah, right behind the gills. But I haven't got that yet. So I don't know. I gotta wait and see another actual trailer for this rather than like a teaser, or just wait and hear some word of mouth. But it seems like it has some serious potential to it. So it's definitely on the radar, no doubt.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Alexander Midler in the chat. What do you guys think of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and Born Again? Go check out the feeds. We have reviews for both of those shows.
True. Weekly.
And, weekly, yeah. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is fully done, and it's all in the feeds. Go check it out.
I will say, Kirkland, I've started watching it. I'm 2 episodes in, and it's pretty good so far. I'm really liking it. Yeah.
Nico? You liking Nico? She's pretty awesome.
I'm really liking Nico.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really fun dynamic.
Too, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you're jumping into it. There's a lot of stuff in there that I think you'll really enjoy. And side note, what do you think about the animation? Because I feel like that's kind of the biggest in-between thing for people. I
actually quite like it. I didn't think I did from the trailers and stuff. I wasn't vibing with it, and I don't really like the other like what if art style, like in terms of just other. I liked 97, but yeah, I'm really liking it. I think some of the stuff like Spider-Man's suit is just the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my life. But like the actual animation, I think is pretty solid. There's some things like Aunt May is like looking terrifying. Like she's absolutely atrocious. Like this face is disgusting. But like I don't know. So there's some characters that look weird, and that's part of the style, I guess. But like overall, I think it's quite nice. I like the colors and all that. So it's working for me.
Awesome. No, that makes me really happy.
You were on the positive side visually?
I give it a 10 out of 10. That's a quick little review there. God. I loved it. It's easily one of my favorite Spider-Man stories, and which is crazy to think because it's only one season so far. And but yeah.
But also the animation. You're on the positive side of the animation.
I love it. I really really love it, especially when they get into the action sequences. It's it just looks so good in my mind.
Right.
I'll leave it there. Go check out the reviews for more thoughts. That reminded me, actually, we didn't even do what you've been watching section for this episode.
Yeah, I guess we don't normally do that on Weekly Geek. That's more of like a standard newscast thing, but then, like we don't like our standard newscast is kind of not happening necessarily because we have Daredevil. So I don't know. It's I didn't have much, but
okay, there you go. That was your mini what you've been watching section.
That was your Weekly Geek sized version of what we've been watching.
I'm not cutting this out though. This is going to be its own cut out. Cool. Carrying on with the trailers. What else do we got in here? I actually did not see the studio in here, so that is my apologies there. That's the Apple TV one, I think. Apple Plus TV. I didn't catch which studio is making the studio, but I think this looks really fun. It's a Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg kind of scenario here. So kind of a comedic thing about Seth Rogen's character is, he's like a Saffron, like James Gunn type. He's like a guy who kind of greenlights or bashes movie projects and scripts and things like that. So he's showing up on the movie sets. He's seeing what's going on there. He's distracting people, and he's making these decisions. But it seems like, there's some good meta elements to it. Cast is really good. You also have Han in there, Catherine O'Hara as well. So you got a really good cast.
I love Seth Rogen. Almost anything he does, I think he picks good projects and things like that. So I'm pretty excited for this. I think it looks like a lot of fun. Is this a show or a movie? I didn't even catch that. But well, either way,
I believe
think
it's
I'm
a
gonna
movie.
check it out. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think it looks really cool. So I'm gonna check it out for sure.
Cool. No, that's intriguing. I'm gonna have to watch the trailer now. I like the idea, and man, Catherine O'Hara. I feel like she was like in hibernation in my mind, just because I've only really attributed her to like the Home Alone.
Yeah.
But then just Schitt's Creek, man. I love her character so much. Moira, she is so fantastic, and
she's coming back in a big way.
oh, it's a show apparently. Detool said so. There you go. You get
thank you, Detool.
More content there. Yeah, shouts out to you, Detool. Cool. Carrying on, we've got. I didn't watch the Black Mirror trailer.
Okay.
I assume you didn't watch the You trailer, unless you did.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Do I know what's going on? Absolutely not. But I think
I've
watched.
You're not alone. I actually this is one that came out a while ago now, and I actually am having a hard time. So this is another one I'm gonna have to do like a recap of the. Again, I remember the main hitting points, but I think I kind of want to do of like everything up until this point, just to remind me of like season 1 and season 2. I'm not Travis, I can't just power through these shows like a madman leading up to it.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna do my best to get prepped for that one, because I did really like the previous season.
So season 1, I remember everything that's going on there, the bookshop, the thing in the basement.
Yes, back.
Light spoilers here. Season 2 with Love, or is that a 2-season arc with 2 and 3?
That was 2 seasons. Yes.
Okay. So I think
Love.
I've seen, and then season 4, was that the one where it's like he goes off to like this university thing in like the
He's
other
in like
country?
Europe. Yeah.
Okay. So I have not caught up with season 4, so I'm a little behind the times. I recognize the one character in this trailer that they showed a quick glimpse of. I think just like I don't know. I assume that character's dead. I don't even know. But like the character he was obsessed with in that season. So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I guess it's a finale. I'm just, I liked the show. Is all right. It kind of has its ups and downs. Obviously, I've not caught up with it. I am very excited for it to be done, though, just so we can get Penn Badgley like doing other things. Because I'm just so excited for him to go work in other projects, and I feel like he's built up like a pretty big name, and obviously he might be typecast for a bit as like the creepy serial killer type guy. But if he just does more of that, I'm down. But I'm really excited to see him in non-you stuff, because I still don't think I've seen him in anything. Maybe in like a small role here or there, but yeah, I'm excited for this show to be done so I can get some new Badgley content in my life.
No, that's great. I completely agree with you. I think it's a great place to end. Just 5 seasons for like many shows is just such a healthy area to end on. And I've seen him in Gossip Girl in the past, because Shay loves that show. And he's just nowhere near the level of where he's at in You. I think just the different range that he has in You is really enticing, and just because he is such a character you want to hate, because he is a terrible guy. I'm excited to see Penn Badgley's next appearances and just see what else he'd be appearing in. Pair him up with some like just fucked up A24 thing or something. Let's get crazy. Like a Yaros. There you go. Get a pair up.
Him,
with
Yorgos,
like
Mikey Madison, Jesse Plemons. That's what you did, but that's what I want to see. That's the movie concoction I want. Get Defoe in there again. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Father-son pair up. Willem Dafoe is the father of Penn Badgley. Let's go, people.
Yeah. So
but
good.
yeah, no, I'm excited to get into the show again, just for like the level what Penn Badgley brings. I think there was moments of season 4 I really didn't like, but then there was moments that just totally gripped me and had me really, really hyped on. And I have pretty decent expectations for this season. I'm hoping that they end it off in a good way. I think them just kind of hinting at people potentially on his heels, like there's a couple little interviews, like I know that this man killed my best friend, so I'm hoping for a potential courtroom type scene, like how he's always bring up with Dexter and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that they send off the character right, and he better not just get off scot-free, because I'm sick and tired of characters just having plot armor and invincibility. But they have said this is the end, and I feel like he's also ready for it to be done, even though I'm sure he's getting paid well. But let's see what else he can do.
Yeah, definitely. And for anyone who likes that show, we have reviews for every season. Did we review season 1 as well? Or did we jump on the train a bit later?
That one might have been like an early one. I don't think I was on that. I jumped into the show a little bit later. I don't know. I would have to check. So, I mean, there you go. That's how long the show's been going.
Yeah.
Don't even remember.
It has been going on for a while. But go check that out. Should I jump into some Black Mirror here a little bit?
Please, yes. Take us away.
Yeah, so we're on season 7, which is insane. I don't know how that happened all out of nowhere. This is a show I really enjoy. I think it has a ton of great episodes, kind of an anthology series, technology-focused stuff, you know, like near future concepts, things that are kind of freaky because they could be real in 5 to 10 years. That's kind of the vibe of the show. Very dark, of course. It's a show that's kind of gotten worse as it's gone along, generally speaking, but not like significantly worse. I just feel like some of the earlier seasons had some much like stronger episodes, and all my favorites would be from those earlier seasons. Like in particular, I think season 6 was probably my least favorite, and then my second least favorite would be like season 5. So like it's definitely, you know, the trajectory is going downwards a little bit. Interesting things, and I can't really remember like what other trailers were like for previous Black Mirror seasons, but this was a particularly strange trailer to me for a couple reasons. One, you know, I knew one of the things that was announced is that we're getting like a sequel episode, I guess, to the USS Callister episode, which is one of the best episodes from, I think, season maybe 3 or 4 or something like that. So we're getting a sequel to that in here, and they show very quick shots of that, not a whole lot, just like a couple quick glimpses, and you see 1 or 2 of the actors from that episode in here. So that's interesting, but then other than that US Callister stuff, it all kind of looked like one episode to me, and that's where I was getting a little confused. Like I couldn't differentiate like which story was which, and obviously they were kind of splicing between these different things. So it seemed way more interconnected than the previous seasons has been, but then it still said like whatever it was, 5 or 6 episodes, like 5 or 6 standalone episodes. So I guess it's not interconnected. Maybe it's just the themes of it are interconnecting them a little bit. So curious to see what's going on there, because it's kind of always been assumed that a lot of these stories take place in the same world. There's kind of one episode that's like a museum or something like that that features different items from the different episodes, but for the most part, like they are just standalone things, standalone actors. The other thing here that kind of adds on top of that is that Will Poulter is in here for a brief second, and he was in Bandersnatch, like the Black Mirror movie,
right.
like the interactive thing, and he looks like he's playing the same character as well. Like kind of a freaky, weird, nerdy guy with like long blonde hair, which is a funny role. So I guess we're also getting either a sequel to that or just like that'll appear as like a minor story in another one of these things. So yeah, like kind of some new things for Black Mirror in that way, in terms of maybe being more interconnected and more sequel-y type things. But then on top of that, it does seem like it has its own like just fresh new stories. So I would say I'm quite excited for this. I didn't love Bandersnatch, but USS Callister is great, so I'm curious to see those sequels and how they do try and tie them back, and I might have to rewatch some of those things as well. And then of course the cast for these shows is always fantastic. You know, a lot of people I feel like who weren't big stars but are big stars now, but in this one, like they have Emma Corrin in there, Rashida Jones, Paul Giamatti's in there, Awkwafina, so some really interesting castings that I think are going to be really fun pairings for this. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I think after having a couple lower tier seasons, I think I'm still excited for Black Mirror and what it's got going on. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this. I forget what the release date was, but I'll definitely be checking out. And yeah, I think we have reviews for maybe not the first season or 2. Once again, maybe we picked up the train a bit later, but we definitely have reviews for most of the season. So people can go check that out if they're looking for that Black Mirror fix.
Right on. Yeah, no, I didn't watch this trailer. I've only seen 1 episode of Black Mirror. It's a series I do want to cross off my list at some point. Do you think it's the type of show that you have to watch every season? Like you said, they are kind of standalones, but then they somewhat branch together. Like, is it just like heavy seasons that they're all bangers? Certain episodes are bangers, but maybe like fluctuation.
Yeah, I really think you could just pick individual episodes and just like when you're cruising around on Netflix, like I think the first season's only like 3 episodes or something. Like it kind of expanded, and I think most of them are around 5 or 6 episodes. But I think you could literally just scroll through the different seasons, pick the ones that look the most interesting to you. Because until this season, as I said, like we've never had a direct sequel to an episode. You maybe have allusions to like a greater world, but not things that you would need to, that I would say, oh, you got to watch this one and then that one. So yeah, I think this might be the one exception season of that, with these 2 episodes that seem to play off previous stories. Okay. But otherwise, I think you should just pick ones that look interesting, or just if you actually do want to watch it and you're sitting down, just message me or Travis or drop it in the Discord, say, hey, which episodes should I watch? And we can give you a recommendation. And also there's like different flavors too. There are more chill, like fun ones, and there are ones that are super dark, and there's some that are like maybe half an hour, and some of them are like hour 20. Like they there's a ton of variety in terms of what you get there. So you can kind of pick and choose depending on what your vibe is in that given moment.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, oh, actually, there's a Patreon question
We had-
by
yes.
Great God Loves Me 69. I almost forget. Take it away.
Yeah, he said, are there any actors, actresses you'd like to see in the new season of Black Mirror? Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing all the big ones were kind of already revealed or shown off here, but I guess just answering this question, like future, let's say there's a season 8 or something that's coming out. I mean, I guess people that have just, like, I think the first one that came to mind was Quali, just because she's done some weirder things, like, you know, obviously Substance as a recent example, but like also Death Stranding. I feel like she is really good in this weird sci-fi world, and obviously she just has incredible range as an actress. So that was the first one that came to mind, which I kind of love that for her, that she's like the first actor that came to mind to like be a Black Mirror character. She might have already been in an episode. That's just kind of one of those shows I'm like, oh yeah, Palm Clementif, she was in there for like some random thing. Like there's all sorts of people that have been in these things. So she's the first one that comes to mind. Who are some other good like actors who have done some like freakier things? I feel like I also just want like the Phoebe Denevers of the world, like these people who haven't seen him much yet, but just give them like a really spicy episode that they can lead in. I think I'd be down for something like that.
Man, I don't even watch the show, but just coming off of Mickey 17, I think Toni Collette is just like,
okay,
or
I
even Mark
say
Ruffalo.
Patterson.
Okay, or Patterson. Like any of those would fit so well in like those
Collette
weird
would be
projects.
great.
But
yeah.
Even Ruffalo's character in that and Poor Things, I love him in this goofy realm. So, but yeah, Toni Collette.
Off of Civil War, give me Kirsten Dunst, give me a Kaylee Spaney. I think those could be good
Spaney,
fits
let's
as
go.
well. Yeah, I think those could be some good fits. Pretty much anyone. Like I feel like there's some Black Mirror episode that could fit for any particular actor, but I think people who are into like do some good sci-fi stuff, do some freaky things. I don't know, anyone who's been in like an Ari Aster movie, like put them in a Black Mirror episode. As you mentioned, Toni Collette is a good example there. Yeah.
What's his name? David Anthony? Is that the name?
Anthony
David. Oh my gosh. Alien Romulus guy, the android.
David Johnson.
David Johnson. There you go. He's my new
Where's
Peter
Anthony
Safran. He's my new Peter Safran. There's just certain names that just
I mean,
don't
David
register in my brain.
Johnson, highly generic name, so I can't blame you for that one. So you'll get there eventually.
Change your name, sir. No. Anything else? Or can we get out of here?
No, let us know who you want to see in the Black, and specifically
Yes,
you, God
please.
Loves Me. I want to know who you want to see in here. But yeah, I'm excited for this show again, which is I didn't think I would be, but you know they got me. They got me again. They always do. They wrote me back in, so I'll be there. I'll watch it. I'll review it.
Hell yeah!
Happily.
It's a sign of a good trailer. You know, they got
true.
you behind the gills.
Behind the gills, yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We got the Whalers closing this one out in the weekly Geek episode. Check us out. Keep your eyes on the feeds for. I don't even know what our next. Oh, we got After 9 actually. I forgot to.
True.
So apologies.
Join
there.
us on Saturday.
Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Patreon tier 2 and higher. Can't wait to talk to you guys. Till then, we'll see you then.
Bye.